Our next speaker is going to be Daryl Cook. And Daryl is a gentleman that I met several years ago. And he, I don't know a whole lot of people that are world-class when it comes to predator solutions. But I can tell you that we have used Daryl to come in and work on our ranches to catch coyotes and bobcats and solve the problems that we're dealing with. But what I've actually done is I've hired Daryl to come in and train our staff. He conducts, we'll call it a school, where he takes an employee and he puts them through the ropes of how to go about doing what it is that he is an expert at. And so he's here to talk a little bit about wildlife predator solutions and what it is that he does as it relates to taking care of the predator problems that we all face on our ranches. So I'd like to introduce Daryl Cook.
Good morning. And when he was talking about there's a redneck in the house, he was pointing at me. I know he was. He always does. But now, guys, y'all got to bear with me a little bit. I'm not a public speaker at all. Most stuff I do is behind the scenes and stuff like into that. We're not real publicized, and that's a good thing. So I had to do a little research on this public speaking business. And they said, most all of them says start these things off with a joke. So there's this guy in Russia, he's gonna buy a car. When you go to Russia, you don't just go buy a car, you have to go to pay them, and then they tell you what car you're gonna get 10 years later. So the guy goes in here and he pays for the car, and the salesman tells him, it'll be here on such and such date in 10 years. The guy says, well, will it be here in the mornings or gonna be here in the evening? The salesman looked at him kind of funny. He says, what difference does it make? It's 10 years from now. He said, well, I got a plumber coming that same day. So anyway, it's great to see all of you here today, and I hope you're enjoying this so far. I really do. But I do have some bad news as of right now. Someone sitting in this audience, you just lost an animal to a predation. It could be a fawn, a trophy buck, your best breeder cow, or even all three. That's just the way that the nature works. I don't even know how to use this thing, guys. I'm sorry. But there you go. We got it now. We got it figured out. This is more high tech than what we did back up there in the teepees and stuff. But that's just how nature works. They're here. We're gonna have to deal with them. You can be passive. You can sit here and just let it go, like Mr. Bailey was talking about earlier. In this business, the only thing standing between your livestock and what's killing them is someone dedicated to predation control. That is it. The only thing. As I was saying earlier, I'm Daryl Cook. For the last 20 years, I've done exactly that. We got started. I met this guy named Bubba Henderson. He was we've always trapped our whole life, done different things for predation control, but we didn't really understand the value of it. So this guy told me, he said, hey man, we got 3,300 acres here. I need you to get in here and do something with it. They had no trophy bucks, just fawn recruitment was in the gutter, everything else. Well, we killed 39 during the breeding season, and fawn count went up about 65% first year. 3 years later, they decided, well, we're just gonna do this from now on, for the next 3 years. The next 3 years, they were shooting 150-inch bucks, first 150-inch deer ever killed on that place, ever, in the history of it. Deer count was up about 80%. I mean, they were leasing the place for about $15,000 a year. Now it's up to about $80,000 a year. So, I mean, every bit of it just went straight to nothing but managing the deer and managing the predators. We killed over 500 off that thing. In about 10 years, we killed about 500 coyotes off of that thing is what we've taken. Every year we would kill that, 50, 60. Everything went great. Predators went down, deer went up. Now, and ever since we focused on that mission, this was our goal, was to help clients reach the full potential to grow and sustain their wildlife investments. We strive to turn out other professionals that can handle complex wildlife issues with our one-on-one instructions, like Mr. Gilroy was talking about earlier. Now, at the risk of offending someone, I'll have to say this: not everyone even cares about predation control work. And I say that with confidence, because there are quite few who do it much at all. I don't think it's they don't know how to care, it's just they just don't know how to care. They don't know how to even fathom that their Dama was just eaten. Well, we just write it off and go on. Maybe they don't know who to call. Maybe they don't know what to expect. All of that is true, but here's the stark reality of the whole mess. Your profit is in the belly of that coyote. For that year, your profit was just eaten. The good news is it don't have to be that way. You don't have to be losing animals to predators every day. You do have choices to mitigate the damages, to reduce the pressure on those animals and raise the productivity of your livestock. And even if I never have one chance to set foot on your property, maybe today I can help share a few things that I've learned. I got hired on a place up here called Bone Hill Foundation up there in Shelby County. 1,800 acres under high fence. We fooled with it a good bit. They said, well, we're having a bad predator problem. We need some help. We don't know what to do. So about the day before I was supposed to start, the guy tells me, he says, well, ma'am, don't think we're going to need you all summer. He said, I think we wiped them out. We shot 10 during deer season. We killed 65 more and 10 more cats in the 5 months. They were literally sick to what they had saw. They had no idea there was that many around. We trap and remove problem predators that are killing your livestock. We help landowners and ranch hands in the methods of predator control. People often ask what predators, usually bobcats, lion, wild dogs, coyotes. How many do you have? East Texas, we kill about 400 or 500 a year. Central Texas, you'll be lucky to have maybe kill 50. That's the places that I've been to. But I can guarantee you, boys, them 50 are bad. No doubt. They've seen it all. They've had everything thrown at them, and they're hard to kill. South Texas, everywhere. North Texas, I went to a place in Graham the other day. The guy had a high fence, and he had a low fence over here beside the county road. You could not take a quarter and throw it down that road in any direction. It wouldn't land in a coyote track. It'd been anything I ever saw. They killed 6 with a helicopter. We've already caught 5 or 6 more just that they left behind. So they just keep coming. They just keep coming. How big an area do they cover? Depends on the source of food at that time of the year. I've seen them go 12 miles one night. Some of them live at the city dump and never leave it. They're individuals as you and I. Some of them travel, some of them don't. Some of them just stay right around the same area. But you can bet if there's one, there's going to be another one. There's usually running 2s, 3s, 4s. Certain times of year, there's going to be 3 or 4 running together. The pup dispersal comes, and you're back to the pairs. What are the easy prey animals that they pick on? Usually in our area, the first thing they pick on is the black buck and the axis and the fawns. Black buck usually bed about 10 feet off the brush line, whatever. Bobcats love them. They just don't have a prayer. You've got to stay on them. Axis, very short-winded. Taz Honeycutt informed me of this here a while back. They run them a couple of times and they just lay down. That's what happens. Kyle gets in here and he runs them a little bit. They lay down. They're eating. That's the end of it. Usually, you can always tell when that starts going on with axis, is they're going to kill your bucks and they're going to kill them when they're in velvet. There's something about that pheromone coming out of that velvet horn drives them insane, and they will come for miles to do it. The breeding season on coyotes, late January to February. They're going to do a lot of killing right along in then. They're going to start your wounded bucks, your whooped off bucks, your deer's getting kind of thin. Now this is whitetail stuff now. They're getting kind of thin for the year. They've been through the rut. They've been hunting. Everybody quits filling feeders that time of the year and stuff like that. They get weak. Coyotes are going to prey on them. Yeah, that's the end of it. Pups are born at the end of April and May. You're going to have your males running around doing all the hunting. She's in a den. She's with the pups, everything else. At that point in time of the year, you make sure he don't come back. He don't come back, she's got to come out of that den to feed pups. You make sure she don't go back. You take the den. That is, I know it sounds kind of rough and all that, but I'm here to tell you, if you want to get your population down, that's just something that's got to be done. The pups are usually kicked out of the den by July. They're usually kicked out in September. They're usually out of the den roaming around. They'll start taking a few with them to hunt in around July, August, on through there. Most of the time, they can walk out through here in the late summertime and fill up on grasshoppers pretty quick. They teach them, catch mouses and stuff. That's when your killing starts going down. You don't see as much of it. Well, hot weather, they don't like to move much. They just kind of lay around. They're not real excited about getting out here, killing stuff. Well, once in a while, you're going to run across one that likes it, and he's good at it, and that's what he does. And so usually pups are kicked out about September, October. What they'll do is you'll have a male, he'll take 2 pups with him. He'll go this way. The female will take 2 pups, go with her. They'll go that way, and they'll go till they find a place to drop them off. They drop them off, it may be your ranch. Who knows? Then they're going to leave them. And then them 2 are going to come back together. And they're going to continue doing the same thing they've always done. So you're going to have that lull right in there where a lot of stuff's not happening, we're not seeing. All right? That pup is going to go till another coyote's not jumping on him every day. So he's going to find him a territory, and then he'll establish that. Let's see. Oop. I got ahead of myself on that, guys. All right. Loss of livestock, hunting prices. Now, this is just, from people that's told me these prices, different things. So we may have to adjust them a little bit. Brian's better on his pricing deal. Whitetail bucks anywhere from $3,500 to $12,000. Axis buck $4,500. Black buck $3,500. Impala $5,500. Ural $14,000. Gazelle $9,000. Fallow buck $6,000. Bongo calf $75,000. Sable cow $30,000. Aoudad ram $7,500. Cape buffalo calves $400,000 plus. The loss of 10 buck fawns with good genetics, you've lost $55,000 in 4 years whenever they get on up to shooter size. If you lose 10 of them, as just say you sell them for $5,500 a piece, that's $55,000 gone. You're not going to get it back. The loss of 2 axis bucks from 1 to 5 years old, $9,000 gone. Like they were talking about earlier, purchase 10 fallow bucks, lose 4 to predation, you're out $18,000. I have personally, my own self, witnessed a ranch lost $250,000 that they know of in 3 years to 1 coyote in 1 pasture. I was called to another place when the first high fence I ever worked, they lost 10 axis bucks in a month. That was $45,000 gone in a month. It was a killing pair. There's about 150 acres in here. The place was about 1,000 acres. We caught the big male the first night. I've never seen a coyote that big. He was about 52 pounds, huge. Caught the female the third night. The killing stopped. It was just 2 of them in here doing this. Had one special one time that he got pretty brazen, and he was literally killing them in the front yard of the lodge, right beside the house. I mean, they would go there and they would stay, and they done this and they done everything they thought they could do, and all this stuff. He was running rampant on them. And I mean, the deer were trying to get up here on the street lights thinking, well, the house, he won't jump on us up here. He followed them up there and laid them out. And we mitigated that problem. So what predator is killing? You got to identify the problem. You've got to identify the problem. Where is it happening? Is it in the same pasture, scattered, single kills, multiple kills? I mean, all this matters. Every bit of it matters. Was it one killed over here 6 months ago, or was it killed a week ago? Was it killed, how was it killed? Was it caught by the throat? Was a flank eat out of it? Or did it just go over here and lay down and die? A lot of them, a lot of people call you up in a panic. Oh my God, this stuff died. I don't know what happened. It's been eaten. You get out there and there's a tooth mark on it. Sometimes they kill for the fun of it. You've got to take a knife and you got to slit them right down through here, open that throat up and see. Yes, a lot of times there's the only way you can tell it's got a tooth mark on them. What time of the year is it? That's a big deal. Is it happening during breeding season? Is it happening during spring pup season? You know what you're dealing with. You're probably dealing with a male. May's your dry pair is going to move in on you. Late summer around, your drifters. Your drifters, your old outlaws, they're going to hang around. They're not there for long. You may whack him, you may not. You kill him. It could be a year before he comes back. Nobody knows. But you got to make sure if he comes through there, he don't leave. The method's been used before in the past. What's been done? Has it been trapped, been snared? Has it been shooting with a helicopter? A lot of times there are people complicate it. They complicate it a lot. It doesn't have to be that complicated, but I can assure you then it's not that easy either. Why has it failed? All right, guys. Not trained by a professional. Your YouTube trappers. I have never, not one time, seen a professional trapper on YouTube going to tell you anything about predation control and knows what he's talking about. I have never seen it. Any of the rest of the guys that I associate with are professionals. They say the exact same thing. Wrong equipment. You go out here and you're trying to call him at the time of year he's not responding to calls, you're not going to kill him. That helicopter, it gets loud with them a few times, they're going to be still. You're going to fly right over them, they won't move. It just all depends. It's every time of the year, something is going to be different. So if you're only using one tool, you're going to be behind. You got to throw everything at them at different times of the year. You can't just go out here and throw it all at him at one time. It's just that is with coyotes. What I have found on them, you've got to use guerrilla tactics. That's the way they do things. They do guerrilla style. You got to use guerrillas to kill gorillas. Not using the right lures the right time of the year. What works in the winter is useless in the summer and vice versa. I see it all the time. Well, I'm using this lure here. I caught a bunch with it in the winter, but I'm not having no luck with it in the summer. Well, they're not coming to gland lures and stuff during the summer. They've changed up in their minds. That's not triggering them. They're not interested in it, and that lure changes in the heat, and your bait changes in the heat. So you got to stay on top of that. It's a lot to learn. It's a lot to learn. One of my favorite, listen to old Joe Bob up here at the cafe. Every town has one. Every town has one, and you all know him. He's up here at the store, the coffee shop, the restaurant, first thing in the morning. You listen to him, he's a war hero. He's done one it all himself. You name it, he's killed 1 million coyotes right by himself, barehanded. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I'll assure you, boys, Joe Bob ain't never dealt with a killer. Joe Bob is going to get you in a lot of trouble. I had a guy work for a ranch down here around Navasota. His ranch manager was going up here every day listening to this old man. I trained the guy. There's a lot of difference between trapping a 700-acre place inside a high fence where you're just dealing with a few. Well, old Joe Bob was telling that ranch foreman there, By George, my grandson there yesterday, he killed 75 coyotes last week right by, well, the other ranch man just sitting up here just on this guy, man, why are you not killing any more than what you are? Well, you know, probably a lot of it, they really wasn't there, and old Joe Bob just up here running here in the rocks and his head rubbed together, you know, so that's kind of what gets them in trouble. Lazy. A lot of people just they ain't got time for it. They don't want to do it right. You know, I can't help that. I mean, we have one guy that we trained. All he wanted to do was ride the fence, smoke cigarettes, drink Mountain Dew, and gripe about his other ranch hands. That's all he wanted to do. He cared nothing about setting the stuff back. We set it all. You know, a month and a half later, man, this stuff ain't working. So we go back out there, everything is tripped, and, you know, buffalo are stomping them, tripping them, and all this stuff, just nothing. I said, what have you done? Well, man, I didn't know we were supposed to reset them. Well, I mean, yeah, you did. I mean, you think he's going to catch him if it's not set? So anyway, that was just a cop-out excuse. Now, illegal methods such as poisoned meat, rotten meat, I'll give anybody in here right now $100 if they'll show me a picture of that coyote on that fish hook with that piece of meat. It ain't worked. It's never worked. It's immoral. I've never seen it work or anything. That's some more old Joe Bob up at the cafe running his head. Your illegal methods, your poisoned meat. Now, boys, I'm going to tell you about this. You have two bad things going to go on with this. Number one, it's illegal. It's going to get you in a lot of trouble. There's a guy up here in Tyler, Texas, around that area. It was way back here around 2004, 2005, I think. He took a bunch of furdan, poisoned his gut pile up and everything. Well, his neighbor drives by, looks out there, there's 3 bald eagles. He left his ranch like that. You know, 30 years later, he wished he'd never seen furdan. Second about this poisoned meat. You might get 1 or 2 with it. Somebody can call me and they can say, hey, they're killing all my axis and black buck. They're killing them every night. They're just murdering these son guns. What do you poison them with? And they're like, and he gets quiet. Well, how'd you know? I say, because you've turned your scavengers into killers. All you've done is you took the ones out here eating the grasshoppers and the rats and all that stuff, you've turned them off. Now, if it's not running from them, they don't trust it. And they're going to take him down, they're going to kill him, they're going to eat part of him. Now he's dead, they don't trust him no more. They're not going to come back to him. They're going to go kill another one. And it just multiplies. What has worked? Get educated. Everything I just told you, I bet some of you's never heard it. The correct method for that time of the year, how to read your coyotes and read your prey. Is it happening in the same pasture? Like you said, you dumped your ibex out here in cedar breaks. Probably wasn't the smartest idea in the world. You know, a good caller. Rabbit don't work all the time. And you got to use the correct sounds for the right time of the year. You got to know what those sounds are. You know, I've personally seen them at 500 yards away be laying out here in a plowed cotton field. You know, be 2 or 3 of them laying out there sunning, you know. You turn on a squalling rabbit, and they just lay there. You know, and you set up here, and that time of year, they was not interested in anything that we threw at them. Helicopter shooting. Like I say, boys, that's the way to pile them up. But when you helicopter shoot, you've got to follow it up. You've got to follow it up with your traps, your snares, your cyanide guns. You've got to follow it up. Because if you don't follow it up, the ones that didn't move, they're still in there. Now, these guys do a great job of helicopter shooting. I mean, they do an awesome job at it. The correct use of equipment, the right coyote traps. You can't mink trap your coyotes. Done seen that. That's using too small of a traps or too big of a traps. You got to use good fence snares, really good fence snares designed for high fences. These little short suckers about that long, made out of 3/32 cable, you know, with the old drag lock on it, they'll get some, but you'd be surprised coyotes are using them things for a doggy door. Correct use of M44s. And boys, there's over 800 plus licensed cyanide users in this state. There's probably 10 of us that are good with them. Just because you got that thing does not mean they're going to line up around this building to pull it. It's the same as all the rest of it. He's got 4 feet, but he ain't got but one mouth, and he's going to have to be in the mood to pull that thing. And you can't just go out here and just put them anywhere because, you know, you can take a trap, you can be off that far, or you can be off as far as this stage and pull him over to it. That cyanide gun, you got to pull him over there to make him put his mouth on that thing. And that's different. That is totally different. What goes into a good control program? Animal safety is one. Number one, it'll always be number one. If you're out here hurting your animals, you're no better than a coyote yourself. Trapping in areas where traps are less likely to come in contact with your livestock. The correct size and style of traps are safer to use around livestock. Only put snares in the fence. No breakaway device will ever work around a deer's neck, ever. It'll be about halfway open and he's going to be laying there dead. They're designed to turn stuff loose like cattle, horses, things like into that, and that's some northern stuff that they do up there where you're required to have a breakaway on it. So if they catch something like a livestock or something, or deer, it's supposed to open up and it pops them out. It don't work down here. Our deer just ain't that quite big enough. Share as much information with your trapper as you can. Everything. Tell them what you poisoned them with. Tell them what you've done. Tell them everything how long it's been going on, everything that you've done up to that point. Tell this guy, where are you seeing them at? Where's the sign? What's going on? What's significant about this pasture than that pasture? Number 3 is really important. All right, if you're entrusting this up to your ranch hands, and he comes up to you and he says, sir, we just had a black buck killed over here in pasture 3. And you start throwing a fit with him and hollering and screaming and chunking stuff and all that good things, I'll assure you, the next black buck he finds, he's not going to tell you about it. And it's going to get swept up under the rug. Keep your cool. Okay, what happened? Where'd you find him at? Was he eating? Did you cut his throat open? Did you see if he'd been killed? But don't ever just get mad at these guys and fly off the handle, because I've seen it happen so many times. Next thing you know, you've lost 10 black bucks. I haven't seen anything. I don't know anything about it. Commitment to the project. How many hours will be needed committed to the work? At least 2 days a week. For one guy needs to be working this 2 days a week. All the fences need to be looked at least once a week. You've got to stay on top of it. Traps got to be reset after rains, relured at least every 2 weeks or as needed. If they're not lured back or they're not interested in it that time of the year, it's just a rock out there, boys. It's just a rock. It's nothing. It's not going to help you get to your goal. People ask you, how many animals will you take? Well, it's going to depend on the predator numbers and the time of the year. Wintertime, you have to be focused on breeding females. Springtime, males are hunting alone. The dry pairs move in on you. Summertime, you have the drifters that come from everywhere. How much equipment is it going to take? Depends on the size of the property, the accessibility of roads, fence conditions. A good rule is always use 2 traps at every site. How long will it take? A solid program will take and should start as soon as January. No later than February, because if you're doing that, you're already behind. To August. You have to stay on them up to August 1st. And then you pull your stuff, grease it up, get it cleaned up, be ready to go again. One problem coyote, he can take weeks, if not months, to get. It very seldom is it a quick fix, very seldom. You want to kill as many bred females from February to March as possible. When fawns are dropping, you need to have the population down and you have to maintain it up to 10 weeks. So he's not just a walking sandwich. I have a picture on my phone right now of a complete whitetail fawn in a coyote's stomach that we killed back in the summer. Clean up. The goal is to improve the health and increase your animals annually for more return on your investments. That's the only reason we're doing it. That's the only reason you should even be considering doing it. You lose 2 of those Axis bucks, Barry went. I mean, that's profit, guys, profit. We're in this to make money. We're not in this to feed coyotes. Long-term goals and solutions. Stay on top of it, to be proactive. Never a truer statement was ever said. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I'll assure you, it's easier to kill that sucker and get him dead and get your everything back calm before he eats 5 of your animals. Then wait till he kills 5 of your animals and he brings 4 or 5 of his buddies in there, or after pup season, then you've got to kill all the rest of them. So it's easier to get them up front. Train your ranch hands to be observant. Look for your tracks, your dig-ins, your kills. There's a difference between coyote kills and cat kills. Most of the time, your coyotes there, if you'll look at them, they're all killed the same. They'll eat one ham up the flank, eat the insides out of them. Now, this is on bigger animals. Usually, your smaller animals, they're completely eaten. Bobcats, when they kill them, they get them here by the muzzle. And you can always tell the muzzle will be really chewed up really bad. They're going to be laying on their side. A big part of the stomach will be eaten out. And a lot of times they'll try to cover them up or drag them off. There's a total difference in it. Well, coyotes kill him. Well, and they send me a picture and he's been covered up. Well, it's Bobcat killed him. Report all activity as quick as you can. If your ranch hands find, hey man, we found this over here, there's digging in, there's hollering over here, get a hold of somebody as quick as you possibly can. Communication. Help me help you. Tell me as much as you possibly can and cut down on the time to solve the solution in the best manner. If I come up to you and you say, hey, I got a predator problem, they're out here, go get them. Well, that's tough. It's going to take longer and all that to get him, to get it under control. The cost. I know y'all been sitting here waiting on this one here. In the words of Red Adair, if you think it's expensive to hire a professional, you wait till you hire an amateur. That is a fact. Fees differ from job to job depending on mileage, time, and equipment. Usually cost around $10,000 for the 6-month period. Training is $2,000 for the 2 days. That's what equipment's costing right now. So fuel prices are varying every day. Shipping, who knows? I mean, it's a crapshoot on that. What shipping fees are going to be next week, but it's all going up. And same as the price on animals, they're going up. I'm going to end this up, boys, by saying this. Control work doesn't cost you. It's going to pay you. 2 animals saved usually pays for the whole program. The rest is nothing but profit. Keep a close eye on your numbers. The most vulnerable animals, your Axis, your black buck, are usually the first ones they pick on. I talked about that. You go in here and if you have 20 black buck out here and you go out here and you say, well, I got 10 black buck babies. Well, tomorrow you've got 8. We need to know what happened to them 10 babies. Try to find them. If they don't come out in the next few days, see if any more went missing. But keep an eye on it. Stay committed and don't give up just because the killing stopped. Who knows? He's killing on somebody else. And we have seen this several times. Say you take 3 ranches, say they're 2,000 acres apiece, and you've got 1, 2, and 3. Well, they're murdering them on these 2 over here. And this middle one, the guy's like, we don't have a predator problem. We're not losing anything. No, it's not happening here. He's turning a blind eye to it. Or that paper-thin ego he's got that's 20 feet tall is about to get injured or whatever. He don't want to know. It's either that or the coyotes are coming off of him. One of the two usually. What to look for when hiring somebody. Ask the guy if he have references. Big deal. Ask if he has references. Because there is a totally different world in fur trapping than it is out here doing control work. It ain't even the same, boys, I'll assure you. If he had an experience with killers or just fur trapping, man, you can go out here. There's a guy up there at home. He is probably one of the best coyote men I've ever met in my life. He gets in that truck about 5 o'clock in the morning. He pours him a cup of coffee and he puts it on the floor. He's got 300 traps he runs by 2 o'clock. He kills 10 coyotes and he's the best in the world. The day it turns hot, he's fishing. He's done. You put him in here on one place, 700 or 800 acre place to kill that one or two, they can't do it. They get frustrated. Man, I can't get in here and have them a cup of coffee and listen to the radio and blare down the road. Them boys can't function. I'm not beating up on them. I love them to death. But, you know, there's a difference. Does he have insurance? Now, if he pulls up here in a $1,000 pickup and it's smoking and beating and banging and clanking, you know, and that thing catches fire out here on your ranch and burns half of it up, somebody needs to pay for that. You want to make sure that they've got something. In conclusion, this is the whole life of what we do. This is dedicated to the last of the loners, the men who pursue the long, frustrating hours of unbearable heat and cold, bugs and bad smells, broke down trucks, dusty roads, cactus spines, unruly horses, cold suppers, mad women, unhappy sheep men, and insufferable bureaucrats. The trapper who works in wildlife damage control, Major L. Boddicker. Thank y'all for your time, and I hope I've helped shed some light in the world of predation control.
Thank you, Daryl. That was fantastic. I really appreciate it. So, as I said, I met Daryl several years ago, and the initial ranch I had him work on was up in Mountain Home, just outside of Kerrville, and I had never seen a coyote on the ranch at all. I had seen one bobcat going down a road in between my place and another place, but there's a piece of land next door to us that's owned by the state, and there's never any traffic on it. And every night we would hear lots of coyotes on that piece of property. It was only 400 acres. And so I decided to have the ranch manager I had at the time go through training with Daryl, and he went and spent about a week with him, traveling around, watching what he did. And he came home, and within a couple of weeks, he had killed a handful of coyotes. And, you know, we had never seen one. And moving forward, we continued to have some success. And fortunately, this piece of property is not as inundated with predators as the other places that we've got. But I've since had Daryl go down and train our managers at the other facilities we've had, and the results have been at the ranch that we have in Pettis. You know, I'm just going to take a wild guess and say that we've killed at least 200 coyotes off that place and a handful of bobcats over the last few years. We picked up a piece of property in Pearsall, and the previous owner was against killing predators. Even though he's a white-tailed deer breeder, he was against it. And so Daryl trained our employee there, and I'm just going to guess, just kind of off the top of my head, I think he told me the other day we've owned that property a little over 2 years, or right at 2 years, and I think he's killed 45 bobcats and well over 100 coyotes. And I can assure you that we would not have been as successful catching those animals if it were not for the training that Daryl had given our employees. Our solution was what everybody else talks about, is get some blue Malrin and mix it with hamburger. And, you know, obviously that's illegal. I'm not recommending doing it, but that's what Joe Bob told me to do. The other solution was just get snares and put them in the fence. And, you know, that worked a little bit, but he showed me that coyotes climb fences. You know, he showed me spots on the fence where a coyote would climb up over, you know, halfway up the fence and then go through. And predator wire, you know, you see predator wire on the bottom of your fence, and if you go look at that hole that goes under the predator wire, it's really good at grabbing a little bit of hair and leaving the evidence that the coyote just went right underneath it. And so if you're raising animals, I think Daryl talked a little bit about the economic value associated with doing this, but if you really want to protect your investment, I would highly recommend, if it's not Daryl, find someone that's very skilled when it comes to predator control, because the long-term benefit is tremendous. We've experienced it firsthand, both the loss as well as, I'm not going to use the word eradication, but we at least today have tools with how to manage this.